Welcome to Season 3 of This Is Your Life in Silicon Valley, a podcast about the Bay Area, technology, and culture. I'm your host, Sunil Rajaraman, and I'm joined by my co-host, Yasha Kakis-Wolf.
What's happening, Sunil? It's a beautiful day out today.
It's a beautiful day and a lot of sick San Franciscans out there.
Hey, seriously, how many masks did you see on your way over to the closet?
I take public transportation every morning to and from and every evening, and everybody's wearing masks.
Really? Everybody? Wow. I'm in a car, so I don't really see everybody. But I saw a bunch of people when I was driving down in Berkeley this morning that were actually wearing masks. I was kind of surprised.
It would be a good time to be in shape, or as in shape as an NFL player.
Seriously, you know how much oxygen they take in when they're running, like barreling through an offensive line?
It's pretty unbelievable the level of athlete it takes to play professional football, which is why we're so grateful today. We had the opportunity to interview Justin Forsett.
Yeah, I didn't know that Justin was a Cal player. I mean, I think I remembered it as we were meeting him, but I had forgotten like what an impact he was when he was here in the Bay Area the first time through.
Justin was a NFL Pro Bowler. He was one of the star running backs at Cal, where he was in the same backfield as Marshawn Lynch, but he's now an entrepreneur and started a company called Hustle and Clean, which is a direct-to-consumer brand, and he's taking that tenacity and drive and bringing it to the business world, which is really incredible.
He's also a motivational speaker.
I mean, I walked away wanting to be a better person after this interview.
Yeah, I would plus one to that one. I think this is a great discussion. I'm really excited that we get to bring it to everybody.
We hope you enjoy, and you'll enjoy this, especially if you're an NFL fan.
We got a lot of people in the room today, Sunil.
Yeah, it's another tight 4-person fit here. It's going to get sweaty, I think.
I think it is, but I left the lights off. I did that on purpose.
I wish I had some cleaning products to help me with that.
Oh, the smell.
What a plug.
I got a question for you, Justin. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in a small town in Florida called Mulberry. It's a town of 3,000 people, small community, about 2 traffic lights.
Is that northern Florida, southern Florida?
Central, so right by Tampa, in between Tampa and Orlando.
Got it. And was that a part of your life where you look back on fondly?
Yes. It kind of really shaped me. Just a blue-collar community, hard workers. Most people that graduate from high school, they go right into the phosphate mining industry, which is big for us down there. And my family, hard workers, friends, cousins, like they had to get it out of the mud, so to speak. Everybody, nothing was given to anyone in the community. You had to work for it and earn it. And I kind of just my work ethic, my passions in life, and my drive to get out started from there.
When you were thinking about getting out, where were you thinking? Did you ever think California as a young kid?
No. Growing up, like I said, no one really goes out and accomplishes their dreams and goals and aspirations in life in this small town. And very humble beginnings for myself, family financially unstable. One point in my life, we were homeless, living out of a motel at the edge of town as a 12-year-old kid. And I remember declaring to myself that I don't know how it's going to happen, but my kids will never have to deal with these things that I'm dealing with right now, whether it's, being homeless, not having a place to go, or taking baths with bottled waters, or, having to do homework by candlelight. And I wanted to make it out. My vision was like football was going to be the way for me. I saw a guy named Barry Sanders on Sundays play, and I'm like, man, he was a short, small guy, but he was electrifying. I see him dazzle crowds on Sundays, and it's like, this is going to be my way out. This is going to be the vehicle out, and I didn't care where that took me. I just wanted to be out.
Yeah.
We met a few months ago at an event where you talked a lot about your background. It's just interesting for me to hear you say you look back on those days fondly, but you faced a lot of adversity. Like,
yeah.
How do you look back at it fondly, given that it was so tough?
Man, it really shaped me. I was determined not to allow those things to define me, but refine me. So I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't go through those bits of adversity. I always say when I'm giving talks is that greatness grows best in the shadows. And what I mean by that is that we don't get our greatest gains when we're at the top of the mountain. We get our greatest gains on our climb to the top and our pursuit to the top. And it's those moments when we're constantly being stretched and pulled, and we have to dig deep within ourselves and pull out things that we didn't even know was there in order to take us to the next level. And there was those moments of brokenness and those moments of frustration and adversity and obstacles that really made me who I am today. The resiliency, the grit, the perseverance, it was all formed from those moments of just challenge throughout the early stages of my life.
This is something I think about a lot, and then we'll get to the how you got to Berkeley thing. But so my family, immigrant family, my dad moved to this country in '67 with his family's equivalent of life savings, which was $100 or whatever, right? And kind of made it. I haven't had to deal with any of that shit, right? And so I kind of had it much easier. And it's just something I think about. Like, how do you think about that? Like, because I'm asking you for parenting advice. How do I instill that in the next generation so that they have some appreciation of that? I feel like we're losing that.
For sure. And I think about it now because my kids are in a whole different situation than I grew up in. But I want to instill in them those values that I've learned along the way, the work ethic that cannot be substituted, by anything. Just making them know that they have to earn it and realize that there's value to the dollar. Financial literacy is important. Those things that I didn't get when I was younger. But also, I can't protect them from everything because those things that I'm trying to protect them from is what kind of made me who I am today, and it makes any person that's successful in life. There's those trials and those obstacles and those ability to bounce back and learn from mistakes. So it's actually me kind of taking my hand off and let them live and kind of try to teach them along the way.
I think that's a tough thing to do. I've got a 17, a 14, and 11-year-old, and I grew up in a very, very, very hard to do environment in Oregon. My mom was an immigrant, single mom, like all of the same things that Sunil talked about we experienced too. And now we've got 3 kids who we really struggle with. How do you create an environment where you do have to care about those details? And that's a really big issue, especially in the Bay Area right now.
Yeah, I hope we're all not getting soft. So how do you end up in Berkeley? Like, so you obviously become an amazing football player, but why Berkeley?
Yeah, can we talk about what the choices you had were?
I didn't have any choices. I was coming out. I was undersized, undervalued. I was the underdog, literally. I was a 5, at that time, probably around 5'7", 185 running back, coming from, a small school, which I moved to Arlington, Texas, my junior high school. So I was coming from a small school, and no one thought I could make it anywhere. So they were always telling me when I was, college scouts were coming to town, you're too short, you're too small, you're too slow, all these different things. And, it wasn't until after me being rejected from Notre Dame, which I thought, I was going to be there, and they offered me a scholarship and then reneged on the offer. And Cal just came out of nowhere and, had an injury in spring camp and said, man, we want to offer you a scholarship. So that was my only choice.
Yeah.
Your only choice. I find that a little hard to believe. Not even one other school came through and said.
Well, Abilene Christian said I could walk on.
Oh, wow.
If you want to count that. So that was it.
And so you end up here, it's what, early 2000s?
Yep, 2004.
2004. And you come to California, you come to Berkeley. What do you think of Berkeley? What do you think of it?
Oh, it's a culture shock.
Yeah, describe that first day.
Man. It's insane coming to campus. First, on my recruiting trip, they really didn't show me all that is Berkeley. Like we stayed away from Telegraph and all those spots down there. We were just going to the dorms, and we stayed a lot in the city. But my first day here, I remember on campus, it was a rainy day outside. I'm walking, trying to find one of my classes, and it's a nude protest outside. And I'm talking.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm talking 70 to 80-year-old men and women outside naked. And this is like, welcome to Berkeley.
This is just like Central Florida.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Disney World.
And do you like it? I mean, so that would have been, right after there was the huge, there was the first .com bust.
Oh, yeah. And
it's different then. Obviously, it's changed a lot now. But like, do you like Berkeley, or what is it? What's your take?
I love Berkeley. It really challenged me in a lot of different ways. I met my wife here on campus at Berkeley. She was a student athlete as well. Some of my best friends, my business partners.
Who's sitting here in the room with us,
Yeah.
looking at the books.
Yeah, so I mean, being able to meet some really cool people along the way. And I always came back here when I was playing in NFL during the off season and trained here. So it's a special place for me. I love it. It's just too expensive.
Did you ever think about the Bay Area when you were here, or was it very, as a Berkeley student living in Berkeley, was it just about that area?
Man, it was at that time. It was Bay Area for sure. I mean, the culture, the music, the dialect, all of it was just like it was like consuming everywhere you went. And you just instantly became a part of it. Like, so when I went back home during the summer and, I'm, quoting Mac Dre or, singing lyrics here from the Oakland music scene and, using the vernacular of the Oakland community. I mean, guys were looking at me crazy when I went back home, but it's definitely a part of me.
Like you're a soft West Coaster now.
Are you a Zachary's guy?
Oh, man, I was a Fat Slice and Blondie's guy. I didn't get Zachary's until after. I think that's inexpensive. Is that more expensive? So I was going for the dollar pizza.
Yeah.
In college.
La Burrita.
La Burrita.
Another spot.
Yes. Top
Love
Dog. Steve's Korean. Shout out. Yeah.
So you're going through this time at Berkeley, and you have your experience as a football player. You have an experience as just a new California person. So on the football field, you're in the same backfield as Marshawn Lynch during that time.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like? And what were your teammates like? What was the whole experience of being a football player at Berkeley like?
It was great. It was so diverse. I got a chance to meet people from different walks of life, different belief systems. It was truly eye-opening for me. That's been really a person that was really sheltered for most of my life, being in the South, being in that Bible Belt of the country, and coming here and just being open to so many different walks of life and people, cultures, and that the locker room just displayed that to the nth degree. And meeting people like from Samoa, people from New York, California, and then knowing that there's a difference between Northern California and Southern California, and then there's also this part called the Valley where you're in Fresno, and this like things that I didn't even know about, and then they all talk different, they all listen to different styles of music and things like that. So it was really cool. Like I said, Marshawn Lynch, we were roommates together. We were both freshmen at the same time.
That must have been wild.
Yeah, he's a great guy. We came in together, very much what you see him today. He was like as that 17-year-old kid, but actually more mature. I mean, I've been extremely impressed with the way he's grown over the years and how he handles his business on and off the field. So,
are you still like on a Berkeley text thread where you just like keep in touch with them, or what's that?
We literally almost talk every day. So yeah, we're definitely very close. He was a groomsman in my wedding. He and my wife are very close. We got the same really close group of people that we talk to on a regular basis. So he's a good friend of mine.
What point do you know, hey, I have the talent to make the NFL? Like I'm doing this, I'm going all the way, because you're 18 when you show up, right? Or you transferred, and when does it click that you're going to go all the way? You can make it.
Well, my test was going to be here my freshman year to see if I could really make it and see if my skill set was on par with everyone else, because I came from such a small place, and my talent was just kind of above everyone else's for the most part. And when I got here and realized, like, man, I can play with the big boys, and I'm getting playing time as a true freshman, which is a feat within itself. And then this is at the time Aaron Rodgers is our quarterback. We're the number 11 team in the country my freshman year, and things are going really well. I think we only lost one game, during that year, and on our way to a Rose Bowl before we got robbed, and we were number 4 in the country. So the football scene was amazing. Berkeley was jumping. The games were being sold out. I mean, everywhere we went, people knew us. We got billboards up. It was a really cool experience. And for me to play and be on the field during that time, I was like, okay, I have what it takes to get to the next level. I just need opportunity.
Did you care about the NFL and the local NFL team and our teams in the Bay Area when you were at Berkeley?
No, I didn't. The Niners and the Raiders, I can't remember. I don't think they were very good at that time. I think the Warriors were really starting to get, what we see today. Baron Davis, Steven Jackson, I want to say, Delonte West was there. That was there when we were starting to become the Roracle. Things was really starting booming over there. But the football scene, as far as the NFL, like I was still at that point a Cowboys fan, and just focused very much on Cal football.
A Cowboys fan. Still a Cowboys fan?
No. Even though I live in Dallas, I can't stand the Cowboys now. Just playing them a lot. Their fans, oh man, they're probably some of the worst fans in the country. They're so finicky.
I went to high school in Cleveland. I'm a Browns guy. So it's,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's been miserable for a long time there. But I do like the fans. My first football experience in Cleveland was in the dog pound at the old Cleveland Muni against the Steelers.
Yes.
Steelers fan shows up to the dog pound and gets just a full beer thrown at him. Last bottle is pretty bad.
Yeah, that sounds like a Cleveland.
It's a great experience as a kid.
Yeah, yeah. So you make this, leap in your mind that you're gonna make it. You can go all the way. But meanwhile, like, how's life going in Berkeley at this time? I mean, is the experience of being a football player in Berkeley? I mean, it's just got to be different, right? I mean, you're a football player at Ohio State or in Ann Arbor or whatever. It's just a different experience. Like, what's the Berkeley experience like?
Well, when you say you're a student athlete, you're really a student athlete. Like, you're not only competing on the football field, but you're competing in the classroom. It's highly competitive. A lot of smart people from everywhere that are in these classes, and football. So some of these professors was just like, man, like, you almost like don't belong here. So you had to really kind of prove yourself, let them know that you were in here to trying to really learn and try to do your best, and you're not going to rely on you just being some star football player. So so the experience was pretty cool. Like I said, I got to meet a lot of different people, some really great mentors, had some really good coaches that really poured into my life that I'm still in contact with today. Met my wife my freshman year, just in our student Cesar Chavez Student Learning Center. I remember like it was yesterday, and it was just a really, really cool scene, laid back, chill. We didn't venture much off over here into the city unless it was some type of special occasion. I did, for at least 3 years of my career at Cal, I was a bouncer at some of the clubs here in
which one?
San Francisco. Man, what were the clubs that we were bouncing? I know we would do a lot of parties. Shaw Security was the name of the company. A lot of the frat parties. But then on Broadway, I'm trying to think of the names of the companies, of the clubs that we would. I can't remember. It was all a blur, but I remember a lot of nights, long nights, overnights where
You had to rough people up.
I had one of my guys who was actually all-pro center for the Falcons now, Alex Mack. He was the muscle, so I was just the guy. I was checking IDs, anything pop off. I was there. Actually, I did have to. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But the Wu-Tang Clan, they were here performing. I was the security, and one of whoever was over the venue, they thought Wu-Tang was getting a little too rowdy, and I'm the only black guy on the security, so they were like, okay,
Can you
I guess
tell me?
yes,
Of course.
there's something that could you please go and help us get them off the tables. And I remember just going over there, and it's like, hey man, this is my part-time job. I ain't causing no stress or whatnot. I'm going to school, playing football, but they need y'all to get off the tables, man. Can you help a brother out? And so they got off the tables. I think shortly after they got back on, but I did my job.
That's
night.
amazing. That's a good story. I'm sure that's a good one.
So as you're in the NFL and you went to a few different teams, did you moved to those cities? Did you ever feel like it was home for you ever?
So Seattle was my longest stint, being up there for 4 years.
Well, you didn't hit the 8-year mark, so you didn't beat the Seattle Freeze.
No, what I should have done, because 2008 I was drafted. is I regret not buying property up there
Yeah.
in that area because it would have been worth a lot of money. But Seattle felt like home. Baltimore, I loved. It was a great place for me. 3 years there, my best years there. And being in Houston felt right because I was in Texas my last 2 years in high school. But a lot of great cities. I mean, it's tough picking up and bouncing around, taking your family from location to location.
Yeah.
But to be in places like Denver, Seattle, Baltimore, Detroit, Houston, Indianapolis. Those are some really cool cities and built up some really cool relationships along the way. So I am like the Kevin Bacon of the NFL. So there's just 6 degrees of separation for me and any player you know.
I think that's a better career to have, is like just get to know all of these cities. There's some good NBA guys that are like that now. The journeyman, I love those careers. Like Rudy Gay, I like him. He's one of my favorite players. Yeah. Good swingman. He's just been in a lot of different cities now, I think.
Yeah, it has its benefits, but if I could do it, you would like to have like one of these, Tom Brady,
Stay
there forever, and build a life and a community. And it's tough when you bounce around. You're just kind of starting all over again. That process of starting all over again, and it's tough, but for sure there's some benefits.
All right, for this portion of the pod, I'm going to do a little deep dive of the NFL. So I'm a big sports fan, and
Let's
so
go.
for fast forward by 5 minutes if you're not into this, but high point and low point of NFL career.
Low point, Jacksonville, 2013. It was a year filled with a lot of promise and hope for me. I just signed my biggest contract to date with them. I was my 6th year in the NFL, 28 years old. I was going there as a package deal like me, and they sold it to me, the GM and the offensive coordinator like you, Maurice Jones-Drew, who's another Bay Area guy from De La Salle over there in Walnut Creek. And we're going to be together. It was kind of like this small, he's a short guy too, so he's shorter than me actually.
He was great.
It was going to be like this, a group of, dynamite in the backfield with us with us running it. And I got there. I was filled with demotion, rejection, injuries, you name it. I dealt with it, and I didn't think I would be able to play again after I got cut there from the Jaguars. I was fired that time. It was my 3rd time in the NFL being fired, and I'm like, man, if I can't play for the Jaguars, who can?
I mean, that team sounds dysfunctional, right? Like they've just had all sorts of issues, right? Like
in perpetuity.
Drafting Blake Bortles, not being the guy, and now the overpaying Foles. I mean, they're messed up. And then, anyway. Yeah,
it was a dark moment for me, and really shift my perspective on what I wanted to do and who I wanted to become if football was over. But high point was the following year. I go to Baltimore. And I go to the Pro Bowl, and I sign my biggest contract today. We're able to take care of my family, and I'm a top 100 player, top 5 rusher in the league, and things are going great. And my whole dream was to make it to a Pro Bowl, and that Pro Bowl in my mind was going to be in Hawaii, but it ended up being in Scottsdale that year. They were testing the domestic market and for the Pro Bowl. Yeah, but it was great. It was that experience, walking out, running out that tunnel as a Pro Bowl running back, representing the Baltimore Ravens in Scottsdale, Arizona, after being at the lowest point of my career and in my life at that time, in Jacksonville the year before, to have that complete turnaround was pretty amazing.
Who's your favorite offensive lineman that you ever played with?
Favorite offensive lineman, Marshall Yanda, who's the offensive guard for the Baltimore Ravens. He is probably surefire Hall of Famer. But I played with a number of great offensive linemen. Walter Jones is a Hall of Famer right now up in Seattle. But Marshall was my guy. He was just a nasty lineman.
Going down that path a little bit more, 3 players that just don't get mentioned often that are like, wow, when the players talk about the real guys in the league, any position, who you're like, okay, yeah, no, this guy's really good, just does not get the love from the media.
Theo Riddick in Detroit, a super amazing, gifted running back that he was in a market for a long time in Detroit where they were just terrible and they didn't really know how to use him. But he was super gifted. I'm going to try to see. Kelechi Osimile, he's an offensive lineman. He was with the Raiders for a bit. He had some injuries to the end of his career, but just nasty. One of the most physical offensive linemen that I ever came across. Even with some of those top guys I named that were Hall of Famers, that he just had a nasty streak about him. He was mean, and he protected his guys. Like, whenever, if anybody messed with me, you had to go through KO, is what we called him. So he was one. And I would say his career was cut short, but Javed Best, who's another Cal guy, he went to the Lions, but this guy was special, man. He was, when I was a senior, he was a freshman at Cal, and then to see him get drafted, I think it was the first round by the Detroit Lions, and the things that he did those first 2 years before he had the concussion stuff come through.
I was going to say, he took one of the hardest hits I've ever seen on the football field. Yeah. It was a Cal game.
Yeah, Cal versus Oregon State.
And it was an end zone dive.
Yeah, landed on his head. It was tough.
That was.
Is the NFL good for players?
Oh man, that's such a layered question. So they're trying to get better in taking care of the players. There's some cognitive dissonance going on right now because they want to take care of the players and the brain and their mental, physical health, but they also want to add games. Mm-hmm. And so it's getting better. I don't know, by the time my kids grow up, it's going to be the same type of game. But I think they're making some strides.
Yeah. If you could go back to your first year in the NFL and tell yourself something that you would value now as somebody who's retired from the NFL, what would that be?
Something I would tell myself, this 23-year-old kid. Hold on. Hold on. Just keep the faith, man, because you're going to go through a lot. There are a lot of people that are going to doubt you, criticize you, tell you what you can't do, place you in this box. Just hold on and keep believing in yourself. That's what I would say.
That's good advice.
You do motivational speaking?
I do.
You do?
I do.
I was hearing a little bit.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. All right, we'll do one or two more of these, and then I'll talk to you about NFL stuff at dinner later or something. But
okay.
But I don't want to bore you because you probably get asked all these questions. But I got to ask a Niners question, because we got a big Bay Area, San Francisco following. They almost made it all the way here.
Yeah.
Is Jimmy G your guy to take it all the way? Can he do it, or do you switch it up?
I mean, I think he can do it. If Trent Dilfer can do it, he can do it.
Brad Johnson,
you name it. It's been done before without having one of these, elite quarterbacks. I think with their run game, they have it. Like, you have a strong defense and run game, that's how you win championships. Now, at the end of the day, you got to make sure the coaches are calling the plays that are going to put you in the best position
Why
possible.
didn't they run the ball? That was unbelievable.
Sometimes we get too cute, we get too cute and we outthink ourselves, when you just know what works, go with it. Like Herman Boone from Remember the Titans, the coach, man. Just run the same thing always like Novocaine, man. Over time, it's just going to work, and they went away from what's been working for them.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking for a lot of folks here. I'm a Browns guy. It's
nothing better than killing momentum. There's nothing better than killing your own momentum.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So look, you're at the peak of where it's at. I mean, with professional sports, just a few years back, you're doing all this stuff. I mean, the NFL is the pinnacle for a lot of people, and then and just like in other professions, whatever the pinnacle is, and then for a lot of people, there is no second chapter. There's nothing after that. But you've gone a different route, and so you've seen some of the entrepreneurship stuff here. You started your own company. Tell us a little bit about that. How long after your career in the NFL did that start?
Yeah, definitely. And I would like to say we all have a second chapter, whether that chapter is a good chapter or a bad chapter. It's dependent on us. I think, there was a study done about 8 years ago now out of Sports Illustrated that said, 2 years after NFL players are done with football, they are either bankrupt, divorced, or depressed. Mm-hmm. And I saw that in the middle of my career when that statistic came out, and then they had this whole 30 for 30 Going Broke documentary on ESPN with players. And it was really eye-opening because, we're still so young. I retired at 32. There's a lot of life to live And I saw guys like Magic Johnson, Roger Staubach in Dallas, Michael Strahan, people that really transition well, use their platform to really kind of, in sports, to propel them to the next phase of life. And I wanted to be in that number. I didn't want to be one of those guys that was struggling and my identity was solely on football, and I want to look back and tell old football stories my entire life. Like, I wanted to do something. I wanted to create change within my community. I wanted to create jobs, because as an athlete, an entertainer, what have you, we get pulled on so many different directions. Like, man, people want something from you. And at a time, I had to learn to say no, but I wanted to still help. And the old adage where, it's better to teach someone to fish than to give them the fish. And I wanted to be able to teach people to fish. And the best way for me to do that was become an entrepreneur. My dad was an entrepreneur. We had a restaurant growing up, and I knew that life and the work ethic that it took. And I love to create. I feel like I was just built to create, and I had the passion for it. And we started this business, when I was probably my third year in the NFL, and I just wanted more. I knew I was more than an athlete, and I was going to do whatever it took to make sure that I wasn't going to fall and be another statistic.
Can you tell us about the business?
Yeah. So we are Hustle Clean. So it's a performance hygiene brand that enables the everyday athlete or fitness enthusiast to do more and be more without compromise. So it's all in personal care. So we like to say we're the Gatorade of hygiene. So we started off with our disposable washcloth, antibacterial towelette that removes sweat, dirt, and body odor from whether you need clean up after workouts or camping, hiking sessions, long flight, overnight flight. We're there for you with that product, the body wipe, for when a shower is optimal but not possible.
Where's the idea for that come from?
Man, in the shower. You
can't say in the shower.
So in the locker room. So our line shower pill was formed from a joke within the sports world. So in the locker room or in the sports environment, there's pills for everything, all these different types of supplements, but no pills for a shower. So when a guy skipped out on the shower, he said, man, I took a shower pill, bro. Don't judge me. So we took that joke, which really wasn't a laughing matter, because guys were catching like staph and ringworm and really nasty infections inside of a locker room because it was a gross place. And at times, just because of our schedules, we didn't have an opening to shower until hours after practice. And we're just sitting around in this sweat and bacteria that's not good for us. So we wanted to come up with a solution. And so we came and decided that we're going to be the solution and form this company.
That's a great story.
What do you think of, and so you're here now, you're based in Dallas, you're kind of going around, you're doing the Silicon Valley kind of, meeting some investors, meeting people like that. What's your honest take on this place? Like when you're here, what do you think of this place? What do you think of the people?
The people are cool. I hate the whole circus of raising capital, venture capital. It's just, I don't know what people are looking for these days. Like, it's still being a minority-owned business. It's still less than 2% of black and brown led businesses that are getting funded. And there are ideas out there, and we have some of the strongest buying power in the country, and we're being overlooked when it comes to raising capital. And for whatever reason, we have these panels, we have these summits, we have these programs, but no one is actually out there really walking the walk and say, hey man, we're going to take a chance and try to help grow these businesses or invest in these businesses. And that part is a little frustrating and disheartening, but it just only adds more fuel to the fire, because I liken it to those times growing up when they were telling me I was too short and too small and too slow to play football. But now you're not smart enough. You don't have enough experience. We don't think that your community that you're serving is big enough.
So it's like going versus a defensive lineman versus going against a middle-aged white man in a office on Sand Hill,
Yeah,
Sand
exactly.
Hill Road.
So
Both equally daunting.
Yeah.
So J.J. Watt or Ben Horowitz, it's been a great journey. It's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, but most rewarding. There met a lot of great people along the way. Some people that are really authentic and genuine, nice people that want to help and serve. I have some really good people on my team. One of the guys, Eric Ryan, who's the founder of Method and Ali, who's an investor in the business. But from day one, whether outside of capital, which he did invest in our business, but he was just there like, man, I understand your concept. I like it, and I want to help you. I want to see you do well. And he was just like, man, whatever you need, introductions or what have you, I'm there for you. And that means a lot to an entrepreneur that's fighting this fight day in and day out. And, in this world where there's people just looking for opportunity just to take and not give. And he was one of them. So there are a lot of people out there like him that have really been, great for introductions. Sunil's been awesome too, just helping out.
He's pretty good like that.
Yeah, he knows everybody.
Literally everybody.
Oh,
so
He's blushing. Yeah, he's really blushing.
Yeah, it's a lot of people that wouldn't go out of their way to help you. And to find those people out here that gets a bad rap, honestly, in the country. And there's some businesses or VC firms that's built off of saying, like, I am anti-Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And to find people like Sunil and Eric and Moise, who we know from Native, it's like, man, we just want to help and serve. That's refreshing.
Yeah. Do you see that more here, or do you see that more in Houston? Or Dallas? Houston. That's where you live. Dallas.
Yeah. So
it's all the same to me, by the way.
It's all,
Texas is just gigantic.
We're 4 hours away.
Zing.
Hey, so that's like Oakland. It's like Oakland and LA is the same. Like you come there, man, you might get hogtied. But it's I've been seeing it spots here, but more so East Coast, down south. There are a little more people that just seem more inviting to serve, but it's all, everybody wants something. Yeah. If you're in this world, it's cutthroat business, not unlike, the business of football. So you just got to be aware, be wise, discerning, make sure you partner with the right people, do your own due diligence beforehand before you're meeting, connecting with people, and you'll be fine.
I asked you this on the walk over here, but what's harder? Being a pro athlete or doing this?
They all have their own battles and struggles. This takes more man hours. Just for me, I had off days as an NFL player. There are no off days as an entrepreneur. It is Monday through Sunday. I'm doing something for the business, whether my mind is on the business, whether, unfortunately when I'm out with the wife on a date night, we're talking about what's my schedule like for this week? Where are you flying to this week, babe? Or in church, and I was like, oh man, this would be a great consumer to go after. Like I'm thinking about all these different places that we could go, and it's just nonstop. It's never ending, and I'm kind of addicted to it at this point. Unfortunately,
I think you should partner. Have you already done this? I have an idea for you. Have you partnered with like Orange Theory and Rumble and all these places to distribute?
Stay tuned.
Oh, all right. Okay. I love it.
Sunil's like a top influencer with Orange Theory.
Orange Theory. I'm an Orange Theory guy. I love Orange Theory.
Hey, we're kind of getting close to the end of the hour, so I want to prep you on a question that we want to ask.
Okay.
So you can think about it a little bit, and I'm sure Sunil wants to poke on a couple other areas too. We want to make sure you've got a little time to think about the social networks that you spend your time on and who you think would be a good follow for the listeners. So you don't have to answer yet. Just want to make sure you think about it.
Okay.
And part of the reason for the hurry, Yasha is going to get murdered if he doesn't get home by 7 to his wife tonight, apparently.
I respect
to
that.
my son, who's in a district-wide choir thing that, like, by the way, our kids show up. Kids are amazing sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not all the time, but sometimes really. Nobody knew that he liked to sing, and he never talked about it. And one day he just comes home from school, and he's like, Mom, Dad, I'm one of 3 kids in our entire district that's doing a show in front of the entire district, and I'm singing.
Whoa.
And we're like, our older daughter, younger of the older two daughters, looked at him and she's like, "You sing?" And he's like, "Yeah, I sing." And we're like, "Oh, okay, so that's tonight."
That.
So I will get fired from my family.
Oh yeah, you got to get to that.
I have a question about. So we had this exchange on Message or whatever the other day about you had your restaurant in San Francisco that you used to go to as a player.
Oh, yeah.
What was it called?
Crustaceans.
Crustacean. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never been there.
Great.
All right. So Give us some insider. You're on the road. You're on the road a lot as a player. What are like just a couple restaurants in the Bay Area that are like, okay, these are the ones. Like when I'm traveling as a Raven.
In the Bay Area, Crustaceans is definitely number one. Amazing if you're into like garlic noodles, crab, prawns. That is a great place to go. Let's see here in the Bay. See, I was mostly on the East Bay. My time here, especially being in college. So anything over on Cal side, Steve's Korean, Top Dog. I'm trying to think of some other places IB's was a great place. Barney's Burgers. Oh, the burgers. Barney's, one of the best burgers in the country.
Are you reading off a list?
Huh?
No.
What? Barney's Burgers.
Oh,
where?
man, with their shake and their spicy curly fries. Oh,
Well, I don't know.
Might go there later.
You gotta go.
And an NFL team traveling on the road. You go. You all stay at a hotel or whatever. What's that experience like? Like, do you get assigned roommates? Do you have like curfew? Like, what's that experience like?
Okay, yeah. So if we're traveling out here, say I'm playing with the Ravens, flying out to San Francisco or playing Oakland, we land in the airport. We get police escort to the hotel. So we're there normally maybe 20, 30 minutes. Then you have time to eat. We also have food option at the hotel. Some guys go out to eat, especially if you're here. You got to go to Crustaceans, and you got to be back for meetings at 8:00. 8:00 to about 10:00. You're in just like going over just plays, watching film, just shoring up all of the things that you went over throughout the week. And then you have curfew around 11:30, 11 o'clock. So you got some time in there. We have a great snack, which is very unhealthy. Like anything that you can imagine is unhealthy that you wouldn't eat before a game. Chicken wings, French fries, ice cream, milkshakes, cakes, you name it. That's what we have before a game. And then we wake up on Sunday morning around 8:00 and get ready to play.
Getting like a whole team of players to do that feels like impossible. Like, how do you get
The logistics?
if you can do that? You can start, like, starting a company must be the easiest thing in the world. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, herding 70 men on the weekend to play a game and make sure that they're on curfew and behaving. That is the task.
How are you doing with your kids, Sunil? You pretty good with it, keeping them on track? And
7 and 4. Like, what do I need to keep on track? Just the older one, like I was telling these guys earlier, had a little bit of flu or something. The last few nights have not been good on sleep.
Where do you spend your time online?
Man, Instagram. I'm on there a lot. Actually, just drop every Wednesday. I do midweek motivation. So I'm on there quite a bit. Twitter is where my biggest following is. So I check in on there, especially I like the live tweet shows and whatnot. Shout out to Homeland that just came out back on this weekend.
Good taste.
But yeah, I'm on those two. And LinkedIn too. I do a lot of LinkedIn for the business.
So here's our closing questions. Questions singular. On those networks, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, who are the follows that you think are the ones that everybody should know about?
Moise Ali from Native. He is dropping gems and is super underrated. He doesn't have a huge following right now, but he's coming for a lot of people. Like, I just think he's like the next wave of this entrepreneur that can go on the speaking circuit, and especially within the CPG space.
He's like Gary Vee.
Yeah, he's coming from. We were saying, my partner was just saying, he's coming for Gary Vee's head.
Yeah.
You better watch out.
Yeah.
But he's a great follow. Gary Vee's a great follow too. If you can stand the being yelled at every day.
Not a Gary Vee guy.
Yeah, you're not a Gary.
This has come up before. I'm not a Gary Vee guy.
You just gotta do in moderation with Gary Vee. Is a great follow, but Diddy is a great follow. I love him just as an entrepreneur. There's another guy that started in one space and then kind of really used that place in music to kind of propel him to this this business mogul. Is a great follow. So those guys are really inspiring to me.
Cool.
And then sub question, NFL follows, or like sports follows in general. Like who of the people that you keep up on from, playing days or after, are you like, wow, this person's gonna, how about this? This person's gonna have an amazing second chapter.
Richard Sherman, for sure. I played with him early when he came into Seattle. Still in contact with him today. He's just very entertaining. He has a lot to say. He doesn't hold back.
Yeah.
So that's a good follow. Who else? Marshawn Lynch is always a good follow. Never know what he's up to. His second chapter, when he does that over again, he's probably on like his fourth chapter, going back and forth. But he's a great follow. I want to say, who else? In the football world or outside of football world?
Yeah,
Paul Rabel. If you just like want to see an athlete that is doing it at a high level, he started the PLL, which is the Premier Lacrosse League, the professional lacrosse, and which is the fastest growing sport in the country right now. He's just doing some amazing things with that league and with that space, like really being a player and being the CEO of the league. That's pretty impressive.
Last question. Next year, who wins the Pac-12?
Ooh,
Football.
Cal, of course.
Of course.
I can't say anything else.
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. Oh, Lamar Jackson. Come on, man. Big trust. Big trust.
He's really good. People are kind of like hopping on that negative bandwagon with him, but he's like second year in the league, right? Or
second year in the league. This guy's maybe like 3-4 losses. That's pretty impressive to me.
All right, we could go on for hours, but Wale looks like he needs to get out of this room. Otherwise, he's gonna be sweating bullets here pretty soon.
Hey, this has been great. Thank you for spending time with us today.
Thanks, Justin.
Oh, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Hey, Yasha.
What's happening?
So, wow. I mean, that was a wide range of topics that we covered there. But amongst them, I mean, we talked about diversity in technology and investment. We talked about the NFL. We talked about motivational speaking. We talked about somebody who came from a background that we don't traditionally see in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, I really appreciated the point of view that he shared around how sometimes when things are really, really, really tough, when you reflect back on them, they don't have to be scars, but they're actually the things that are most motivating and exciting, and maybe that you appreciate the most.
Just such a likable person, and I'm rooting for him to succeed because I think he's going to make a huge impact on the world, not just in this company, but whatever else he does.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Hey, today was a fun episode, and if you found this episode on one of the podcast listening platforms like Spotify or on Apple Music or on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, whatever it was, if you liked the podcast as much as I like doing the podcast with Sunil, what we would appreciate is you to go on, leave us a comment, and rate us 5 stars. It helps a lot more people find the podcast.
Thanks for joining us today.